This is lesson 7 in Algebra 1, the opposite of a number and simplifying more difficult notations. Very short lesson, only a page and a half in the textbook. We've already talked about the opposite of a number. The opposite of a number is just take the opposite in sign. So 2 and negative 2 are opposites. So the opposite of negative 2 is 2. The opposite of 2 is negative 2. And that's pretty much it as far as the opposites. Simplifying more difficult notations. So we're going to be taking some difficult notations, such as example 7.1, negative, positive 4 minus negative 5 plus 5. It'll be real difficult if I can't write correctly. All right, so that is one of those more difficult expressions. So a negative and a positive are a negative, so we can just take that and make it a negative 4. 2 negatives is a positive. 2 negatives is a positive. A negative and a positive is always a negative. So let's go ahead and write these with all pluses. So we've got negative 4 plus 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus negative 6. These two here, difference between those two is 1. Sign of the largest, 1 plus 5 plus 3 plus negative 6. These two is 6. So get rid of those. Plus 3 is 9. So get rid of that one. Plus negative 6. Difference between those two is 3. Sign of the largest on top, and we're done. So, example 7.2. Negative and negative 3. Decided to go with yellow. It's just so much springier. So that's a plus. Okay, so let's go back and work on our signs here. I go a little bit fatter ink. 2 negatives give you a positive 3. Let's just leave that and let's go inside the bracket. 2 negatives give you a positive 2. 2 negatives give you a positive 3. Now we're going to make this a 3 plus negative 2 plus 3. 3 plus negative 2, take the difference between the two, between 3 and 2 is 1, and you put the sign of the bigger number on there, and we have a 3, and we have 4 for our answer. So this one is number 7.3 in the examples. So again, we're going to look at our 2 negatives and make that a positive 4. And that's got a plus sign there, so we're going to leave that like it is. But we've got 3 negatives here. Now if you remember, when you have an odd number of negatives side by side like we do right here, an odd number means that you have a negative. Just like here is an even number, so it turned it into a positive. So that's one way to remember it. Another way that you could have done this, if you didn't want to do it that way, is negative, and then you've got 2 negatives, which is a positive, and now we've got 4 plus negative 2. Change this to plus negative 6. So you could have done it the long way and still gotten the same answer. So then we look at these two. Signs are different. Take the difference between 4 and 2 and you get 2, and you put the sign of the largest number on there. And we also have plus negative 6. Take the difference between the two is 4, and you put the sign of the largest one on there and you get negative 4. Okay, the last one we're going to do will be example 7.4. And we're going to use negative, positive 4, minus negative 5, plus 5, minus negative 3, plus negative 6. So let's go ahead and get the signs all rearranged for us. So negative and a positive is a negative. Negative and a negative is a positive. Two negatives is a positive. We have our plus 5. Two negatives is a positive. And that, a negative and a positive, is a negative. But one of the things that you'll notice here, well, let me erase that, is we have a plus, a negative. We're going to leave that because that's really what we're trying to do, is add numbers and add positives and add negatives. So we're going to leave that alone. So these two signs are different. Difference between 4 and 5 is 1. Put the sign of the largest on there. And if I were to go ahead and rewrite all of these, which you don't have to do this, there's a lot of this you can do in your head. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus negative 6. So you can just add these. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Now we've got two numbers with different signs. We're going to take the difference and we're going to put the sign of the largest one on there, and we're going to call it good. So that's it for lesson number 7, a little more than 6 minutes, and we're good.